was that he had gone to Leo DeRocha to say, "Send me back to the minors. I can't do." And Leo had told him, "All you need to do is go catch the damn ball. As long as I'm the manager, you're the center fielder. Catch the ball. I trust that you'll be able to hit it eventually." And that was what it took to give him the confidence to
That's the story. That's the
that
story I
that's
read as a kid in
yeah. Well,
I
and
would
that's
say
the story that he told
every
in his Hall of Fame induction speech.
okay. So
So
third
so
grade, I got the scoop in third grade when I read that
yeah,
book, the bio.
yeah. So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels, where Robert Anderson and I have gotten back together, but this time rather than talking about his fabulous comics, we decided we wanted to talk some Willie Mays, maybe some baseball in general. Remember a legend. Uh and talk about why. I mean, it's been a hard week. I think Joe Posnanski hit it on the head. You read Joe Posnanski at all?
No, uh-uh.
Joe Posnanski, in my opinion, is the current poet laureate of baseball.
Okay.
Um, Not literally because he's a sports writer, but he's got that gift for language. Um, and when he wrote up, trying to find it, thought the easy way to do it was going to be to find it on my phone because I texted it to my wife, but my phone's being slow, so we might.
See, I have no phone, so I cannot rely on that at all. I can say that growing up, I read so much sports and sports writing, and that there was a time when it was possible that the best writers in America, journalists, were writing for Sports
Oh
Illustrated.
yeah,
I'll
oh
stand by
yeah.
that. There, I mean, you see who, all the bylines and stuff.
There are still some great ones.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it was a good old boys club. So that, I guess that's not fair, but so is everything in America in the 70s. But yeah, great writing going on about sports.
there we go. Even Mays himself couldn't quite understand it. All I did was play baseball, he would say when approached by another fan with tears in their eyes. On one level, this was true. All he did was play baseball. All Robert Frost did was write poetry. All Grace Kelly did was play in movies. All Albert Einstein did was think about the universe. All Prince did was play music. Uh,
Wasn't Grace Kelly a princess too, though, of Monaco?
yep. Yeah. But I mean, I think the point
No, I
is that I mean, Willie didn't just play baseball. Uh,
he was the essence
Willie,
of the game, man.
yeah,
Essence.
was baseball.
And all the tools. I think again, like everybody wanting to pick the greatest or whatever. I mean, he's as a good example as possibly anything
Right.
and anybody. But he had all the tools. Where other people
Yeah.
may have done this or that better, which is also arguable. Uh, I mean, he was just great at everything, which is such a
Well,
crazy
I
package to have
actually I actually came across do you do baseball on the radio
all the
much?
time. That's actually how I listen to the game. Every
Okay.
beginning of the Giants season, I watch a few games on TV just so I can see what the players look like. Like we have a whole slew of new players. And
Right.
then once I feel like I know they hit from the left side, the right side, what they do, then I switch right back to the radio because we got Cook and Kipe and Dave Fleming and
So
just
there
prefer.
is a fantastic uh YouTube account called, here I am looking for it. I want to say it's baseball on the radio or old time.
Oh, you can hear some of the calls.
Right.
Yeah.
Classic baseball on the radio. So
Mm.
what I came across when I was just looking for various Willie Mays stuff was they have a 1957 I want to say August 1957 Brooklyn Dodgers New York Giants game with Vin Scully doing the last like 4 or 5 innings. Oh my God.
Oh, that's got to be great.
Was that Mays was 4 for 5 with three singles and a home run. Um, and like dominated the game in terms of the call, even though the Giants wound up losing. And the one time he didn't get a hit, he grounded out to short to end the game.
Oh,
Um, but I'd forgotten what a base stealer he was.
oh
Every
yeah,
time he was on first base, all anybody could talk about was how Drysdale was having to both worry about
the
the
bat.
hitter in front of him and
Yeah.
keeping Mays on first.
I think he's one
Um,
of those electric guys, like that
yeah.
really don't come along that often. I mean,
Well,
once in
that's the
a
other
while.
thing. I mean, in '57, he was 6 years into his career, but 2 of those years he was gone in the army. So
Yep.
really,
He missed
this
a
is like the
couple,
fourth year of his career.
and he had all those
Uh,
years of Candlestick, by the way, where hitting the
yeah.
ball out, like, I mean, he
Oh,
probably lost 6, 8 home runs a year
minimum, minimum,
minimum. Seriously.
minimum. He retires the home run champ if he plays anywhere but Candlestick.
And I don't know, did they add on the Negro League home runs
He
that he
didn't
made?
have enough in the Negro Leagues to make the because he didn't actually spend a lot of time in the Negro Leagues.
But
He
he must have. I mean, he had to hit some down there. I mean,
yeah,
the six
um
number should go up, right? I don't know.
but I don't know if they've started adding counting stats, first of all. Um,
Oh wow,
but
yeah, he
second of all,
threw it.
officially, in terms of league games, because they've only got record of 13 of his games in
The Barons.
with the
Okay.
Barons,
No,
doesn't have any minor league
I
home
bet they
runs.
find some. I bet they
I'm
find.
certain that they will. Though again, the other issue is I mean they're only counting league versus league games. So do they
Right,
find even if they find some, will they be against
right.
I
Good
mean,
enough
because
or
his
whatever.
the other thing is his Negro League time was after Jackie,
Yeah.
and that was when the Negro Leagues were already starting to wane because the best superstars were the major leagues. So their calling cards, their draw wasn't there anymore, which meant that they played a lot more non-official games than official games.
Have you ever read that book, The Veracruz Blues? There's a really good fiction book too that
I
argues.
haven't.
Oh, it's a great book. It argues that I think in 1945, maybe the last year of the war, that Mexico had the best league because a
Uh,
lot of the players were,
Mexico often had an argument for
yeah, because they had the best Cuban players. They didn't have the color line,
well,
like,
and because there were white players that would go down. I mean,
guys defected.
right.
Absolutely. And so
Well,
this
well,
was
but they were a winter league for a lot of the time, so they didn't have to defect. It was
it was
you go
great.
back and work in the coal mine during the winter, or you go down to Mexico and you play ball.
This one is about Veracruz Blues, about two guys, I think like a center fielder and a second baseman or whatever, and
Right.
they're going down there.
Based on actual events of 1946.
It's pretty funny. It's an all-star cast throws up there too.
Cool.
Meaning like Hemingway and Fidel and stuff. It's pretty funny.
Very cool.
But it is interesting to think about those times when Ted Williams and everybody was like fighting the war, and down in Mexico, they're playing ball at like just unbelievably high level.
Veracruz is the team that Martin Digo played for when he played in Mexico. Uh, have you ever Saber has a biography project, Society of American Baseball Research.
Hmm.
Um, so like if you ever want to just like fall down a rabbit hole, you go to the Saber
Right.
Bio project and you can just look up
Oh wow.
various people. Um, one of my favorites is the Martin Digo here. Do you know Martin Digo at all?
Nope.
Okay, see, you need to get to know Martin Digo. I mean, as a writer, you should get to know Martin Digo. Martin Digo is a guy that I feel like needs to needs a comic or a biography or a work of fiction. People need to know him better. So the way Martin Digo's Saber bioproject starts as a league pennant was squarely on the line under the brutal Mexican sun on September 5th, 1938. A team known as Agrario, led by the legendary Satchel Paige, battled Aguila for the championship of the summertime Mexican circuit, a league recently strengthened by the importation of such frontline Negro League stars as Josh Gibson, Ray Dandridge, Willie Wells, and the redoubtable Page.
Oh
For
yeah.
8 tense innings, ageless Satchel had battled pitch for pitch with his rival, an equally tough Cuban ace on the hill for Aguila. Page's formidable opponent that day would eventually amass an 18-2 record with a microscopic .92 ERA and the league best 184 strikeouts before the wrap-up of the same summer season. Both aces dueled for 8 innings of a 1-1 deadlock before Page became the first to succumb to the relentless heat. In the ninth frame, the league's leading hitter brought his .387 average to the plate against yet another imported Cuban hurler, Ramon Bergana, who had just relieved the wilted Page. The tension was quickly erased when the star Aguila batsman crushed one of Bergana's best offerings over the distant center field wall for a dramatic walk-off homer. If one were to spice this story by announcing that the league-leading pitcher and the league-leading hitter were twin brothers, a reader could not be blamed for dismissing the veracity of the tall tale. And yet the truth in this case is even more incredible than almost any imagined Hollywood-style plot. The star Cuban hurler and the .387 hitter, not to mention the pennant-winning manager, were in fact all one and the same remarkable athlete. The hero of this tale, and so many more like it, was in truth Martin Digo, black baseball's true El Inmortal, as he was dubbed back home in Cuba. Not only was Digo's the season's best pitcher and top batsman in a talent-filled Mexican league, in the final weeks of the preceding 37 campaign, he tossed the circuit's first ever no-hit, no-run game in Veracruz versus the Nogales, and such feats merely scratch the surface. He's the only person in, I think, 5 different baseball Hall of Fames.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Because he's in Cooperstown, he's in the Negro League, Mexico, Venezuela, and Cuba.
It's funny. I should mention right now, I'm a rabid baseball fan, but I have 4 children. And I'm also a fan of other things. It's funny, like I don't,
What?
oh, man. It's like comic,
What?
yeah, or noir fiction or jazz.
Right, right.
I just went to the opera last night. I'm a big opera fan, but like if you actually enter opera or you enter like noir fans, like they know everything.
See, I just
With
booked.
baseball, but I mean, I was raised on baseball cards. I think I told you before, my dad played in the minors, uh, and thought I was going to play baseball. Went to University of Miami, was like didn't play there, and then played a couple summers of semi-pro Nickball, and then at College of Marin before I couldn't figure things out. Not on the field, actually on the field and off, and dropped out of sports essentially, other than basketball leagues. So love the game. And my grandmother is both were huge fans. My one grandmother was a Giants booster and used to get the Sunday games, Sunday doubleheaders, and would travel with the team to San Diego and always had them on the transistor radio while she put out the laundry and stuff. And so just the game was always on. I just love baseball. But after having 4 kids and other things, like I can't say that I followed the American League. Like I don't
I
even
get it.
know like what the hell's happening. I follow my Giants as they come on the radio. And like it's a very strange way of being a fan when like if you ask me, like every shortstop in 1977 or something, I could come up with it. You know what I mean? Like it's really funny how you go from knowing quite a
Oh,
bit
absolutely.
and all the
But
esoterica.
but this is where I'm going to be geeky. You just talked opera. Did you know that there was an opera written about Josh Gibson?
Oh, that makes sense. No, where's the Willie Mays one? I thought there should be a Pete
Not
Rose
yet.
one. I was pushing that one for a while.
Ah, the hell with Pete Rose. He's a bum.
There you go. There you makes a great, makes a great opera character that way.
That's true.
I'm also saying, I don't know if you can see my screen, but I don't know if you see my Mojo thing here. I just realized I have one of those old dolls of Willie Mays there.
Oh, wow.
You see that?
I actually have, and it's left-handed, so it was probably my Uncle Adam.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
have an old Rawlings baseball mitt
There's
with
Will.
the Willie Mays signature
Chimp
printed in it.
Out, of course. You can see some other baseball stuff here.
Nice.
Batting practice homer I hit in 2007.
Well, and you were actually telling me that you got to meet Willie,
I did get to meet Willie. I went to the
which I'm
Giants.
like ridiculously jealous about. Tell me about meeting Willie.
Uh, he was in a wheelchair. He was at the White House for the Giants' first World Series
Okay, so
victory.
this is my first question. How were you at the White House with the Giants?
I'm a weird guy. Uh, I did a bunch of political work uh,
Okay,
for Obama, and
okay,
I have friends that became politicians aside from that. Uh,
okay.
one being Kamala Harris right now.
Oh, cool.
I'm from San Francisco here, right? And so we're kind of the hotbed for truthfully democratic politics, right? If you think
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it,
yeah.
you've had whatever Barbara Boxer, Nancy Pelosi, Dan
Right.
Feinstein, Gavin Newsom, Kamala, all within maybe 3 miles of here.
Okay.
So you're a student of the game, and I'm a good friend of Willie Brown, who introduced me to Barack Obama when he was still a senator. Uh,
Right.
you see my desk here. He was at the house. I did a fundraiser for him. That's
Oh,
that's the Reverend Al Green and myself
right.
with Obama, because we had a fundraiser here at my house where Al Green sang with Charlie Musselwhite and Booker T and my friend Les Claypool.
Okay. You just have this crazy life, Robert.
So there's me with Kamo's a dear friend and my friend Josh Redman at a gig I did for
Okay.
SF Jazz. So I did some fundraising for SF Jazz. I did some fundraising for Obama. And my oldest son, went to school with Larry Baer, was the president or is the president still of the Giants, went
Okay.
with his youngest daughter. So we hit it
Okay.
off well. And so I forget how or who, but I got an invite to the Giants celebration there and took my two oldest kids at the time.
And you said, no, no, I don't want to do that. And they said, but
Well,
please, Robert.
yeah. Well, it's there's always scheduling and stuff. Like, you can't just go anywhere everywhere, and there's money and time and everything. So it was a super honor. I also went to Texas and took my oldest son to see the Giants win the first World Series to close
Okay.
out.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
sent me a
even
picture of
close
that.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my dad had passed away and had never seen the Giants win on the West Coast. And my grandmothers had passed away. They'd never seen the Giants win. So there's no way I was gonna miss that or the
I
opportunity.
understand. I couldn't afford to go to Cleveland, but
Yeah.
I was with a lot of Cubs fans when, well, not when it happened. When it happened, I was speechless at home. But even though it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, I went out and spent time with a lot of Cubs fans
Yeah,
immediately
I
afterwards.
when the Giants went, I was literally just crying. I was bawling. I was bawling.
Yeah. No, well, no, actually, I remember my wife came downstairs because as soon as the game got close in the late innings, she couldn't handle the tension, but she was following the game from bed. And when they won, she came downstairs and she was expecting me to be just going nuts. And instead, she found me just staring at the TV. She's like, "Honey, are you okay?" And I went, "The the Cubs just won the world."
Yeah. My wife's father's from Chicago, and her aunts were still from their longtime Cubs fans. And her dad's favorite player was Ernie Banks. And
Ernie, I met when I was very young.
the foul
He
ball.
opened a bank in Galena.
Uh,
Go
uh,
figure. They were opening a bank, so they reached out to Ernie Banks.
yeah, that makes
And
sense.
and I was at the Pearl Jam concert at Wrigley Field where he sang with Eddie
Oh,
and
wow.
stole Eddie's glove.
That's hilarious. Anyway, I was gonna say that yeah, so I was at the White House and he was there, and after the ceremony, I don't usually introduce myself to people or kind of try to do that celebrity thing, but it was Willie Mays.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
No, you got to say hi to Willie Mays.
so we were actually leaving, and he was there in his wheelchair, and I went up to him with my kids because we were kind of in the same like little location trying to kind of
Right.
file out. And I said, you know, uh, the first game I ever went to, the first baseball game I ever went to, my grandmother took me to at Candlestick. And I said, she walked me down the concrete steps, and she pointed to center field, and she said, "That's Willie Mays." And I said, "That's the first time I ever saw greatness." And he smiled, and he was
It's-
nice enough. I asked him if he, could sign my daughter's hat, and so
Right.
he's my daughter's hat. The truth of the story, though, is I think I probably was wrong. My brother pointed out that, and I bet if we went to the box scores, that he was actually playing like first base that day, that he wasn't in center field. But
Do you know
I
the
was probably
date? I'm a geek. I can find out.
I was probably 5 years old, so it was probably 1973
Oh, see, if it was 1973, we
last
got a
year.
problem already
Why?
because he was with the Mets.
No, I know he was with the Mets. That was the
Oh,
deal.
okay. 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 Gotcha. Gotcha.
I said the only problem I hadn't told him. I was like the only
I,
problem he was
I,
Mets.
I assumed you said Candlestick Park. So they were
Yeah,
the visiting team?
they were the Mets were visiting, and I'm guessing it was probably like summer, like late August, like July, whenever they played the Mets. It's funny. I should have done some research. I
Because
should
he
have
actually played a lot of.
near the end. I don't think he could roam this, center. So she wasn't probably,
Yeah, but I think they had more first basemen than center fielders on that team.
they still have marvelous Marv Throneberry. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like if you can look up, if you
I am looking at the first game right now.
guessing. So again, my grandmother had all the Sunday games. So Mets, Sunday, summer.
Well,
I mean, I know it's mostly summer.
okay. So the Mets were in San Francisco on May 28th, but that was a Monday. So let's see if we can find.
This is funny.
Yeah,
It's forensic.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday,
I would not have been at the park.
28th, 29th, and 30th.
No way.
And then the Giants were in New York in June.
It would have to be a Saturday or Sunday, and it would have been a Sunday because my grandmother had all
Here we go. Here we go. Saturday. So probably Sunday, August 12th.
they played.
New York Mets at San Francisco Giants.
Yep. And my brother's
And
6
well,
years
Willie
older.
Mays was at first base.
So
Don
that
Hahn was out in center field.
so there you go. That was my first baseball game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary Maddox was the center fielder for the Giants.
Gary
Bobby
Maddox.
Bonds was in right.
What year were you born?
I was born in 1980. So
Oh,
this was
okay.
7 years before I was born.
So Gary Maddox, not only did he have the big fro, he
Yeah.
used to be one of the few people that pulled his socks, his stirrups all the way up. And so it would
Yeah.
just be a line.
Yeah.
And so as a kid, when you're putting your sanitary socks on for Little League and stuff,
Yeah.
you try to get them all the way up, or you'd cut the bottom of your stirrups and put elastic there so that they could go up high enough
Right.
so that you'd have just one stripe for the style. And we would say Gary Maddox, like that was the shit. But I think at that point he was probably on the Phillies or something. He was playing for the
Yeah.
Phillies, man.
That
He was a
sounds right.
badass. He was a badass.
I remember him vaguely. Let's see. He did have most of his career with the Phillies through 1986.
So he won a series with them too. He must have been on that Tug McGraw team,
I think so.
with all
Yeah,
Steve
he
Alton,
was
all
he
that.
was that was
Rose
80.
was on
Wasn't
that
it
team.
80 that they won?
80 or 81, one of those years. It wasn't a strike year, was it? I forget. I remember what's his name spiking the balls. Pete Rose spiking the ball. Larry Boa. Like I'm trying to think of like the put together that
Yeah. They won in 1980 over the Royals.
Royals. Royals. That might have been the year. It's sad that because Thurman Munson died in '79. I was kind of a
Sounds
Yankee
right.
fan, given that the Giants were shitty all that.
You're not allowed to be a Yankee fan. The Yankees suck.
Yeah, well. During 77, 78 with Reggie and Billy Martin running the show
Yeah,
with
Reggie had some interesting
Dog,
comments during
Nettles.
the. I didn't manage to watch the Rickwood game because I don't have cable anymore, and it was on Fox.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I read about uh, Reggie during the Rickwood game last week. And mind you, Reggie played in Alabama 20 years after Mays played in Alabama. Reggie talked about
His
how
minor league time was in Alabama.
he spent at least a season down in Alabama. And he said he was incredibly grateful for his teammates and his manager because there were still restaurants that wouldn't serve him, hotels that wouldn't let him stay. And if they wouldn't serve him, nobody ate there. They
Oh yeah.
wouldn't let him stay. Nobody stayed there. That was
My
that
dad
was
played in
John
Waycross,
McNamara.
Georgia. He played for the Milwaukee Braves before they were
Okay.
Atlanta, Waycross, Georgia, and then Greenville, North Carolina. And they used to have to drop off Bill Robinson was one of the
Okay.
guys, Cito
Right.
Gaston, and they would have to drop him off at different ends of town or find people that would house them and stuff. He said
Now I just
Bill
have to look.
Robinson was from the north, so
What's your dad's name?
Ken Anderson
Ken Anderson.
or Kenneth Anderson. I think he hit 220 or something. He was injured both times. Although he started off strong. I think he had a 2 for 4, 4 for 4 game when he first landed. But he played and he said it was brutal. It was his huge opener.
1963 and 1964 outfield and first. He was born in Honolulu.
Yeah. He was there for Pearl Harbor. My family
Okay.
was there for Pearl Harbor. My uncle
Okay.
Bruce is probably one of the only survivors still. There can't be too many who saw my
Yeah. Yeah.
strafed by the rising
Lifetime.
sun.
Lifetime. Well, he was consistent. He batted 235 in 63 and 234 in 64.
Yeah, he was injured. My dad could hit. If you look at his like Cal Poly stats and stuff, I mean the guy was
Those are harder to take up, man.
and the Waycross,
You
Georgia
should
though,
be impressed. You should be impressed that I managed to dig up his
yeah,
his minor league stats that
pretty
quickly.
amazing.
Now you want me to go look for his Cal
No, no,
Poly
no, no,
stats?
no. I don't. No, no, don't do that. But I mean, he thumped the ball. He hit the shit out of the ball. But he said one of his coaches was like Eddie Pafko at some point, like, and who was at the wall, Pafko at the
Right,
wall, Delulo and stuff when Bobby Thompson hit the shot heard around the
right.
world with Willie Mays. We got to get back to. We're not talking about Willie enough.
Oh, but no,
Willie Mays on deck,
it's
on
no.
deck,
Here's my thing. Here's my thing about talking about Willie and
just a
even how it
starter for all of
changed
baseball.
when I was like inviting people that weren't able to make it is that Willie is the embodiment of baseball. When you're talking about baseball,
Yeah, everything goes back. No, you're
it
right.
can all go back to him.
Well, he said, so my
Um,
dad, so Waycross, Georgia was they also, I think, used the field for rodeos and shit. I think my dad,
right.
like left center was like
He played with
430.
Cito Gaston.
Yeah. Also, so those guys, I think Cito Gaston and Bill Robinson might have faced off in a World Series as the manager for the Mets and the manager for the Toronto Blue Jays. Either way, I think the managed World Series is.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
I know Gaston managed the Blue Jays.
But Bill Robinson was not going for the South by my dad's standards and stuff too, because he was a Northern boy, and so they got him out of there fast because
Yeah.
you're talking Jim Crow. There's a
Oh
very
yeah.
good tough line from Hank Aaron because the stadium was relatively new when Hank Aaron played for the Waycross Georgia Braves, right? So
Right.
new stadium, and they asked him. I think you could look this one up too. I don't want to get it quite wrong. But they said, "What do you think of Waycross?" Right? And he said it was great. They threw shit at me. They called me nigger. It was great. Like not a place you'd want to fucking play. Not a place you'd want to be black ever, let alone like in 60
Right.
or 63. And then you think about Willie coming here too. He was booed. Like they
Yeah.
wouldn't sell him a home. Like, you know, like
Yeah,
same thing for all those guys.
I had not realized that
Threw a
until
brick through his window. Like, what the
I
fuck is that in San Francisco?
I mean by the time the Giants moved to San Francisco, he was already the greatest ball player on earth. It's not like he was a young nobody that the catch had been made, etc. So like,
But you still have the people that, again, like, you know, whatever, whether you believe Jordan or not, like, there's always the new guys versus the old guys. And this is a town of Joe DiMaggio. Let us not.
yeah, no, and I get that.
So
I get
Jolton
that,
Joe is
but
the
it's just
greatest, and then you have a bunch of racists and stuff as well of people who don't want to let go, and then you
no,
have the guy
it's like
coming down.
I believe it. I still just have trouble wrapping my head around the idea that you bring this team in that has the greatest baseball player in the world, and then you don't want to let him buy a house.
Well, you had guys fighting in the war, right? That for
Oh yeah,
freedom abroad
there's
in
a
Europe didn't have the rights that they had at home. Like they had more rights in France than they did here.
Max Brooks wrote a great book on great comic. I think it was Max Brooks on the Harlem Hellfighters.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Um,
it's not that surprising, and it's not that long.
no, I
It brings us
just
to the politics of the day, of course. And it's amazing that Willie Mays spanned that whole time. Also, you know, again, we had Willie McCovey from Alabama, and he was booed for a while too. And then we had
actually have you heard
Cepeda was like one of the first Spanish players.
do you know Ferlinghetti's baseball canto?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
Yeah. We just
that
had
is just
we had our book launch at City Lights for my Fairy Godfather
right.
in Ferlinghetti. We're, you know, I come from, my dad and my uncle are huge Beat Poet fans, and I was lucky enough to meet Ferlinghetti. And
Well, this it's got a Willie Mays reference. So I'm going to read some
of
baseball
course,
canto because
do it.
it's so amazing. Watching baseball, sitting in the sun, eating popcorn, reading Ezra Pound,
Hmm.
and wishing that Juan Marichal would hit a hole right through the Anglo-Saxon tradition in the first canto and demolish the barbarian invaders. The
Hmm.
San Francisco Giants take the field and everybody stands up for the national anthem. And some Irish tenor's voice piped over the loudspeakers with all the players struck dead in their places, and the white umpires, like Irish cops in their black suits and little black caps pressed over their hearts, standing straight and still like some funeral of a Blarney bartender, and all facing east as if expecting some great white hope or the founding fathers to appear on the horizon like 1066 or 1776.
Hmm.
But Willie Mays appears instead in the bottom of the first, and a roar goes up as he clouts the first one into the sun and takes off like a foot runner from Thebes. The ball is lost in the sun, and maidens wail after him as he keeps running through the Anglo-Saxon epic. And Tito Fuentes comes up, looking like a bullfighter in his tight pants and small pointy shoes. And the right field bleachers go mad with Chicanos and blacks and Brooklyn beer drinkers. Tito, sock it to him, sweet Tito. And sweet Tito puts his foot in the bucket and smacks one that don't come back at all and flees around the bases like he's escaping from the United Fruit Company as the gringo dollar beats out the pound and sweet Tito beats it out like he's beating out usury. Not to mention fascism and anti-Semitism. And Juan Marichal comes up, and the Chicano bleachers go loco again as Juan belts the first ball out of sight and rounds first and keeps going and rounds second and rounds third and keeps going and hits pay dirt to the roars of the grungy populace as some nut presses the backstage panic button for the tape recorded national anthem again to save the situation.
Hmm.
But it don't stop nobody this time in their revolution round the loaded white bases in this last of the great Anglo-Saxon epics in the Territorio Libre of baseball.
That's awesome.
Which
You know, Fuentes, I had, but before they stopped, because it was a stupid fucking idea, a bat day bat that was signed, you know, Fuentes. I mean, can you imagine giving out bats at like Giants double headers with against the Dodgers? I mean, that's just crazy. It's back
they have
then.
to be careful. They have
It's
to
not
be
the
careful
wine
giving
sipping
out
crowd
balls
of today.
sometimes now. I feel like there was a game like 10 or 12 years ago that was like the first game that had to be forfeited in years because it was ball day and something happened and the balls started raining onto the field.
Yeah, not the same. Again, it's a different crowd in a different city. But yeah, we had the
Yeah.
Baby Bull, we had the Alou brothers. We had a whole
Yeah.
outfield of Alous.
Yep.
Jesus,
Yep. An
you know,
entire outfield of blues.
yeah,
Well, and I've loved that poem forever, but actually discovering that even in the supposedly liberal San Francisco, even at the height of his career, um, Willie Mays had trouble gives this poem just a whole different level of meaning.
yeah,
You know,
for
and I've
sure.
always, it's annoying how much um, covert racism is still in baseball. Almost every time you hear about they need to learn to play the game the right way,
Mm,
they might as well be saying the white way.
mm.
It's like don't show emotion, don't and you never hear it when it's the white guy that shows emotion.
Yeah,
Then
well,
he's loving his team.
back to Pete Rose, fucking, blowing up
Right.
the and shit. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's an interesting. That's partially why I like Reggie Jackson too. Again,
Yeah.
he's the swagger. And he played for Oakland too before he played. They
Yep.
won 3 World Series before they went to
Yep.
New York. He's
Yep.
also a lot of people don't know this.
I'm a Reggie fan. I'm just not a Yankee fan.
Yeah, that's fun. Uh, but he also, I think, aside from Ted Williams, was the leading home run hitter for Hispanics. He's half Hispanic. He's
Yeah.
half Mexican, I think, right? I mean, or maybe he's Dominican. I think he's half Mexican. Martinez is his middle name. Reginald Martinez Jackson, I believe.
That sounds right.
Yeah. And then and Ted Williams was also half Mexican. People don't think
That
about
I that I
that.
didn't realize.
Yeah, played it down, man. They played that shit down.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in his era, he would have had to.
Yeah. Is
Um,
that great? Do you remember Tito Long traveling All-Star Motor Kings, that movie with Richard
Bingo Long,
Bingo
Bingo
Long?
Long. Yeah, Richard Pryor and Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
Um,
What's his name?
um,
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
But
That's
Richard
actually
Pryor
loose.
character, the Richard Pryor character pretends to be Cuban because he's like, no,
Right.
no, 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 no. They're gonna break the leagues for Hispanics before they do for blacks. It's pretty
Well, I mean, which there was truth to that because
because
if
because Ted
if
Williams was
if you
already.
were light enough, if you were light enough Hispanic,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
It's all a
the
lie,
league
right?
the
Race is
league
a
was
lie.
never completely closed. Um,
Black isn't black, white isn't white. It's a
oh
construct.
yeah, no, I mean I'm enough of a history buff that I can tell you flat out that pretty much the concept of race was created by slave owners in the United States as a reason to not have to
So
ever
speaking of really
release.
good, really great graphic novels, did you read The N-Word of God yet?
I haven't. I did just notice that it got added to Hoopla.
It's
So that's the library app.
it's a
So
no joke.
yeah.
He jumps in, that guy, about race and his conflict too. Back to R.L. Kwan, which is kind of interesting as an agnostic atheist here. But how can you reconcile Christianity with slavery, and how can you reconcile this in America, and how can you do it as a black person? It's really great.
I mean, how can you reconcile a refusal to have gun laws with Christianity?
Well, first things first, right?
I mean, I actually saw fucking Ted Nugent on TV trying to claim that the Second Amendment originated in the Bible and completely misquoting Jesus. And I'm sitting there going, go read the rest of that chapter.
In Louisiana, they're posting the Ten Commandments now,
Oh
right?
my God.
That's
Well, it's not
crazy.
happening yet because it's being challenged. But yeah, no, they want to.
No,
They're
no more separate, no separation from church and say it's a
yeah,
weird.
they're gonna get the it's that's gonna get creamed. I mean, that was set up to that
I don't know.
they seem convinced that this Supreme Court is willing to completely toss out the Constitution, and at least so far they haven't been. Um,
We'll see. They're doing
we
some
come awfully.
calisthenics right now.
They are, though they did um I guess it hasn't been officially announced. It was one of those things that got put up at the court website ahead of time. But it looks like their decision in the Idaho case is that Idaho will be required to perform abortions in cases that fall under the national emergency laws. Um,
It's calisthenics. It's
it is. It
it,
is. And they did
I got
decide. I was blown away. There is one group of people that can't buy guns. They did decide to uphold the law that said that if you had a restraining order against you for domestic violence, you couldn't own a handgun in whichever state that
but
was.
they threw that to the state laws too. They're careful about when and what they throw to people. It's
Yeah.
no, they yeah. It's rough. And then there's like, oh, only Congress can do this, and with the founding fathers, none of them would vote. Amy Coney Barrett would never even be on the bench. Either would Clarence
Yeah.
Thomas if you wanted to
Well,
talk about slavery and what who owned
yeah.
what, who could vote. Like that's just ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
Reggie Jackson's dad was half Puerto Rican.
at Puerto
That's what
Rican,
it is. Yeah.
there you go.
His father, Martinez Jackson, who was half part Puerto Rican,
That was
worked
close.
worked as a
I'm always
tailor
pulling
and
for
was a second
Mexico.
baseman for the New York Eagles of the Negro Leagues.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
it's funny. Have you ever seen that Dave Chappelle thing about like the race draft? So I'm
Yeah.
always pulling for Mexico. So
Right.
trying to pull in Reggie, Come on.
Let's see.
Ted Williams. So Ted Williams, okay, again,
I'm looking
Mexico.
up Ted right now.
Come on, Mexico.
Uh,
Come on, Mexico.
Samuel
Big buddy.
Stewart Williams.
Big buddy.
It says his paternal ancestors were a mix of Welsh, English, and Irish. His maternal Spanish-Mexican side, the
Boom.
Williams family, was quite diverse, having Basque, Russian, and American Indian roots. Of his Mexican ancestry, he said, "If I had my mother's name, there's no doubt I would have run into problems in those days, considering the
What was
prejudices
his mother's
people
maiden
had in
name?
Southern California." Uh,
Yeah, down in SoCal,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So my grandmother's one of my grandmother's maiden name is Martinez too. So I think that's
Huh.
another reason Reggie and I was going for Mexico there.
Blah, blah, blah.
Anyway, it is interesting. It is interesting. Ted Williams is no joke.
Oh no, Ted Williams is
Ted Williams get
May
hit.
May Venzor, Spanish Mexican American from El Paso.
Yeah, it gets complicated there too, like my family too, because you're Spanish because it's Alta Spain and New California and all that, and then it's not. It's Mexico briefly, right? And then it's not. And so it's
Well,
interesting
I mean,
whether your family is, your family was had land grants or didn't have land grants and what
right.
during
I
that
mean,
period.
almost a third of the United States was at one point Mexico. I mean, that's one of the things that drives me up the wall when Texas or New Mexico or Arizona are passing laws about
Oh yeah, up into Utah.
immigration. I'm sitting there going, and how are you going to verify this? You gonna look at papers for everybody or just the brown people? And you know that most of the brown people have been on the land for longer than you have, right?
Well, yeah, you hear that about assimilation. You're like, well, how are you assimilating? This used to be Mexico, like
Right, right.
but that used to be
Um,
handled, by the way, before people you talk about the open borders. Oddly enough, a lot of that was handled from what I've read and gathered by porters on trains. So the people
yeah,
coming across, they would have like brown bag laws and stuff, right? Or they would
yeah,
just spot you and say if you were dressed a particular way or were able to pass in a particular way, which often had to do with money as well and accent, then you could go to the white cars. If not, you were kicked back.
right.
Wild.
Uh,
And that was it. That was immigration. That was the immigration policy.
I mean, interesting history in the United
Yeah,
States.
it's a tough one.
Um,
It's a tough
there are
one
things to be proud of and things to maybe not so much be proud
to
of.
be proud of, though. Willie Mays. Let's.
Definitely. Um,
I got to
I
run.
mean, I
By the
still
way,
get like goosebumps every time I watch The Catch.
yeah.
I mean,
Just
it's just
yeah, just the way he hit, man. Just the way he hit and run. He also did that
yeah,
thing too. You know, when you're a kid and you're playing with football, like back to Juan Marichal, because that's the beginning of the mythology and having an older brother. You know, like you would play with football and you would mimic people's stances and their throwing
yeah,
arms, motions, and that real reach back over the top from
yep,
Marichal and
yep,
coming at trying to kill the pitcher with the bat, getting hold back there and everything like that was all like big stuff that you would kind of emulate and stuff. But like the Willie Mays one for us being from San Francisco or that we grabbed onto was anytime you ran after something, like a fly ball, you go like
you had to
that.
knock your hat off.
Had to
Yeah,
knock your hat
yeah,
off.
had to knock your hat off.
That was the Willie Mays. And if
I
you look at
actually that's the other thing that I remember from the biography that I read when I was a kid, that there were like contests on how to keep Willie Mays' hat on. And nothing ever worked, possibly because he didn't want it to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
um,
it's just also like every story here, I have to say, from people in San Francisco about him, it's all full of wonder and grace and
I
love.
mean,
It really is. Like it's
it's
kind of nutty. Like he's had time for everybody and just a crazy huge heart, according to everybody here in San Francisco. You
right.
don't, it's not a
There
not to
aren't.
bring up Barry or something or other people or Ted
Yeah,
Williams, who wasn't
yeah,
spitting on it. There's
yeah.
no mythology about that, even during a
Right,
time when it would have helped when they didn't want to sell him a home or something or blah, blah, blah.
right.
He was, I mean, just crazy gracious in a way that also I think upset some of the black community, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, possibly.
But
Um,
the years
but
held
but
out.
I hear that he fought his own battles too.
Oh, I
Um,
completely had to.
he just, like Jackie during his career, more of them were behind the scenes.
Oh, sure.
Um,
I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, it's all.
I can't even.
And then you think about Hank Aaron or something
I mean,
too.
actually, it reminds me of something I heard Louis Armstrong
Yeah, I was.
say once. Louis Armstrong was asked why he smoked so much marijuana, and he said, "Man, my name is on the front of the greatest theaters in the United States, and I gotta walk in the back door. I can get angry or I can get high. I
Mm,
choose to get high."
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
um,
We have
but
an FX Jazz. The alley is called "Raise Up Off Me" after the biography on Hampton Hawes,
right,
and I mean, it's a new day in jazz too, where people because it's a new day because of people like Louis Armstrong, the
yeah,
civil rights movement and stuff. But there was a time when people were just dropping from heroin, and there was
yep,
a time you could also, you were losing your performer's card and stuff for any bullshit,
right,
drug abuse or whatever,
right.
including marijuana.
I
And
mean, Billie Holiday and Charlie Parker are both absolute tragic characters
so
in
to
jazz
yeah, oh, for sure. I have a thing
who
though.
have great comics written about them, because I can bring everything back to comics.
Well, I was going to do that because I'm thinking of working on a new comic about the death of Charlie Parker
Okay,
not being from a heart attack at all.
right.
Not from heroin. I got a whole
Definitely uh check
because
out Dave Chisholm's Dave Chisholm does jazz comics like no other, because among other things he's a jazz trumpeter too, so he knows his jazz, but he's also a cartoonist. He did a Miles Davis comic that came out this
oh, the
year.
big with the huge book, the big book
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah. But one of his first books was called Chasing the Bird, Charlie Parker in California.
Hmm.
Um, which is just absolutely phenomenal.
I'll have to grab that one because
Yeah.
this part of what I want to write about takes place here too.
Yeah,
Anyway, hey,
here.
I gotta go because
You
it's
got to run and like do work or shit? Come
yeah,
on.
and my kids are all home from the holidays and stuff here for.
That's right. It's summer. You get to see your kids. See, it's summer. I have to teach.
Oh, well,
There's some Charlie Parker imagery though.
oh, that's sweet.
Um, yeah. So, Robert, thank you.
Hey man,
I
it's a
really wanted
pleasure,
to just be
Chad.
able to shoot the baseball shit. Think
Yeah,
about Willie.
yeah.
Um,
And the Giants won there. They came back. That was good. That was nice.
yeah, that's why I had to wear the New York Giants cap today rather than the San Francisco Giants because they came back against my Cubs.
Yeah, and then hopefully they'll do it again, and then they'll take that momentum
Yeah.
into to the arena where we have to play the Dodgers this weekend. And
Right.
boy, oh boy, are they good. And we were injured and broken up and
Well,
not
and Otani is just something
is
else.
insane. He's like
Otani,
20% better and bigger, and
right.
like it's kind of wild. In a game where you see an equilibrium, it's a little bit
Yeah.
like watching. I mean, again, you see these phenomenons come out. The phenomenon of Willie Mays must have been nuts, man. Actually,
Yeah,
just
I got to imagine that with the possible exception of Ken Griffey Jr. during his first 4 or 5 years, the awe of watching Otani has got to be the only thing in my lifetime to compare to what it must have been like to watch Mays in the 50s and 60s.
so steroids or not, people would stop what they were doing to watch Barry Bonds.
I'll
Unbelievable.
give you that. I'll give you
I've
that. I
never.
loved watching
It was
I
like
loved
wiffle ball.
watching I loved watching Barry when he was in Pittsburgh.
It was like
Though,
wiffle ball.
though
He
I am
threw
going to give
one
you because
strike all day, and he'd hit
one
the
one
hits.
of my favorite moments ever at Wrigley Field had to do was a very embarrassing moment for Barry Bonds. It was while he was still with the Pirates. He launched one onto Waveland Avenue.
Mhm.
And you know how he had the famously slow home run trot.
Yep.
So he's trotting around. Wrigley, the has always been known. Opposing team home run balls come back.
Yeah.
So this ball came back from Waveland Avenue to
That's
the
all.
front row of the bleachers, and from the front row of the bleachers into Sean Dunstan's glove in
Wow.
enough time for him to pat Barry Bonds with it as he rounded second. At which point Bonds looked up and took off for the last two bases.
That's hilarious. So as a kind of a closer here, so Bonds, of course, is Millie Mays' is godson.
Godson. Yep.
And I don't know if you can see it. Let's see in here.
You got a Bonds signature?
No, see that? I think it says SD 21 SD.
Okay.
So during the COVID season, when baseball on the radio was keeping me alive, kind of,
Right.
nobody wanted to see the Giants or anything, and they had these auctions, like, but nobody cared or anything. So
Right.
you could get. I got a game worn Sean Dunston hat because I
Oh,
needed
nice.
a Giants hat for like $25 or
That's
something
right. He reversed his number for
for
the
playing with
Giants. He was 12 with the Cubs.
yeah, and then he was a
Yeah.
coach where he actually might have been Barry, no, Dusty Baker's kid. Whose kid was it that he picked up out of the
That
way?
was Dusty. It was JT Snow that picked him up. Dunston was there, but it was JT Snow that actually picked him up as he crossed the plate.
Really? It was
Yeah.
JT? By the way, one of the worst swings in all of baseball, JT Snow. One of the great defenders, one of the worst swings. The slowest fucking
Did I tell you JT Snow?
nice guy, apparently.
Well, very nice to the pretty girls that were like 5 seats away from me.
All right.
I was in the second row of a Giants Padres game, and I want to say 1997 or 8. And I had a foul ball coming straight to me. Mind you, I've been to 300 some odd baseball games at the time, probably 150, 200 baseball games. Never gotten a ball. Still never gotten a ball.
I've gotten a few.
That ball had my name on it.
Uh-huh.
I heard his cleats on the dirt. I got out of the way. He caught it. It was the third out of the inning, so he didn't need it anymore. gave it to the pretty girls 10 feet from us rather than giving it to me, the 17-year-old that got out of the way.
Yeah, you know what? That's an easy call. So me and my friend who I played baseball with at college, man, they ended up playing a lot more, and his dad was a scout for the Dodgers. We
Right.
went to the game and we were talking old times, and we were like, because we hadn't seen each other, we were just saying, oh my God, it was a beautiful night. Greatest home runs you've seen here. We're like, oh, I was here for, when Candlestick and Brian Johnson, and we're talking it up, and we were like, worst home run you've ever seen, right? And we were talking about JT Snow hit one, and we were like, oh my God. And my friend got up and talked about how bad his swing was like this and stuff, right? And then I told you I was friends with Larry Bear. And so Larry Bear comes near us and it's like, hey, Robert, how you doing? Blah, 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 right? And, just my friend Tony. And he's like, oh, and if you met JT, he's sitting right here. My friend goes, oh my God. We must have seen like the biggest
Well,
ass.
if you see JT again, you tell him he owes me a baseball.
Say, I will get you a baseball if I don't get my ass kicked. I mean, can you imagine that? Like, what kind of asshole do you have to be to like? He must have thought we knew him and were intentionally mocking his swing in particular.
No, he probably knew better. Hopefully, he had a much better sense of humor than
I don't
that.
think he might not have heard us because he was talking to the pretty girls. Like
Right.
that's the only saving grace. But we were like,
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
See, the second closest I ever came to catching a ball was literally the next day because we took the red eye home from San Francisco that night, and I had Cubs tickets the next day, second row behind the Cubs bullpen. Another
Nice.
ball coming straight to me until I heard cleats on the bench and got out of the way so Sean Dunston could catch it. He had
Nice.
a much better excuse for not giving it to me, though. He spun around and fired it to first base for a double play.
That's good. I think I showed you the picture World Series, the game where Sandoval hit 3.
Yeah, the ball you got.
Laser,
Yeah,
boom, MX missile off his back going this way to us, and everybody's diving out of the way. And I stood up. I had my daughter on my lap. I said, whoa, this one's ours. And I put her down as everybody was diving out of the way.
at least you put her down rather than getting her in the way.
Yeah. Got that one. I've got a few. We used to take our baseball cards to Candlestick, pay $1 for the bleachers, but you were penned in there. So sometimes we pay the $3.50 and go early and try to get guys to sign them. And we would hang out down the first baseline because Darrell Evans, who played first base for the Giants, pull hitter, regardless, like he would have had everybody on one side. He's not going the other way ever. He would hook balls around the cage when they still have, pulling the cage out there to the foul, down the foul line and into the seats. So little kids and stuff, we'd all hustle. We'd all be over there anyway, because that was where you try to get opposing, the ball.
There used to be
we get balls there.
There used to be like a party section in left field at Wrigley. It was like 20 seats or so that could only be bought as a group.
Oh, wow.
Right. They were just regular seats, but you had to buy them as a group. And I once watched Vladimir Guerrero hit 10 consecutive balls into that empty section in batting practice. And I'm just sitting there going, when that group shows up,
yeah,
they have all these baseballs and not even understand why.
That's amazing. Yeah, Candlestick was not a group friendly kind of place to see.
No, I was lucky.
The corneas in my eyes from peanut shells.
Yeah.
Whipping.
I got lucky. My dad had a friend who, I forget what his official title was, but he was essentially the schmoozer for NASDAQ. He was the guy that would take like CEOs on golf outings with Michael Jordan or to the ball game or whatnot. So we were out there and his friend was using the skybox. So we got the 4 seats, front row on the first base side.
We were rabid. My dad liked the bleachers. My grandmother had the box seats behind home, but I went more with my dad all the time, and we would be out in left field. He would sit down, have a cigar, and he'd say, "I'm gonna," because the whole bleachers, nobody was out there, and he'd find a scene. "I'm gonna sit right about here because that's where Jack Clark's gonna hit the home run." He would, and he'd smoke a cigar and
There's another Cub killer. I hated Jack Clark when he was with the Cardinals. Hated him.
he could
Hated him.
get out of the ball. He was,
Total Cub killer.
yeah.
Total Cub killer all through my childhood.
I think he won one with St. Louis. He
He
might have been
did.
on the Yankees for a half a minute too, like late.
Yeah, he was with the Red Sox for a little bit.
I saw him lose a fly ball that the Giants were finally going to win and climb to like 12 games under 500, and 2 out in the ninth.
Yeah, he
Fly ball,
was
Jack Clark. He loses it and like
he,
everybody's
he
running around
was
the defense.
he was very similar to Keith Moreland in that way.
Keith Moreland. There you go. There you go. But boy, you did not want to give Jack Clark an inside fastball because that you just put it over in left field. Just put it over fucking left field.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He
But
could
yeah,
hit.
you jump down into this little pit over the when home runs came in there because there was this weird space at Candlestick, and
I remember that. I mean,
would slowly walk over,
Yeah.
like, and then you'd have to pop back up and climb back up to try to get off of get back up into the stands before the cops got you.
right.
The cops weren't really getting it. No, you're not doing anything.
Tell me, have you ever gone out in a boat on McCovey Cove?
No.
No. See, that's on my list of things that I want to do sometime.
You can't see the game from there.
Well, yeah, you listen on the radio and watch for the ball to come over.
That's true. They have a thing called the Gotham Club out there behind the scoreboard. You can get a drink. It's not, I mean, it's a great
Right.
baseball park. Larry did a great job. And you can stand out there in right field and, you can watch the game for free through the,
Yeah.
It's a beautiful ballpark.
I haven't been to the new one yet.
I've been to
Only
Wrigley once. Me and my friend drove across country and we stopped at Wrigley.
Wrigley is a cathedral.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been
Wrigley-
to Fenway. I took my son went to
Fenway's another cathedral.
Oh man, no, it's great stuff. And the show starts on the sidewalk. It's all about
Exactly.
Oh, Boston fans, man. I actually you have to jump it up a notch to football, where I mean those guys are in everybody's fucking dish. Everybody's dish. It's rough. It is rough. And it's old school racist. It's like it just anybody's got an Italian name. Hey, you want to play the spaghetti? Like it's like what what the fuck is this? 1965? Like it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But it's fun. Great place to watch a game. Great place to watch a Yankee game too.
Yeah, one of these days I'll go to the Yankee Stadium. I figure once I've gone to all of the other ballparks, I need to go to the ones in New York.
Well, it's a new one. Well, I had my shot. The only time I was ever in there, I was hitchhiking again down from this weird job I had at a summer camp, and this guy dropped me off in the Bronx, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's Yankee Stadium! I have to go check it out."
Right.
And the gate was open, and I was like, "What's going on?" Because like at Oakland games back when nobody came, back in the Shooty Babbitt post Billy Ball game, they would keep like the last couple innings, they just open it up because okay. I was like,
I mean, really, they should just do that and sell concessions. It couldn't be worse than what they're doing now.
well, yeah, let's not get into Oakland. It's sad. But anyway, or like we walk after Warrior games, they had the fence out there with these sticks, and you pop the fence, pop in two places and break it and pull it out, and you'd look through the peephole. You'd make these peepholes out in left the late innings. Afterwards, when they had like Mitchell Page and Tony Armas, another guy who went to the Red Sox. Anyway, so I go to Yankee Stadium. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There's obviously people in here, but there's nobody at the concessions, and it's a ghost town there, but I can hear there's people out on the field. And I go there, and they're like inducting like 2,000 Nicaraguans into the country or something.
Oh, cool.
Like a weird mass, like what do you call it? Citizenship. But it was kind of like a Mooney wedding. It was almost like the beginning of Mao too, like back to DeLillo or something. But that was my only time ever in the old stadium. I really regret not going there. I
kind of wish I'd gotten to the old stadium.
But I watch baseball.
I would have to see the Yankees.
My kids play a lot of soccer. My daughter plays soccer. She's going to play some pro soccer in Paris, it looks like. But whenever I go to like even her games or something, if I hear a baseball, I go over and I watch like 7th graders like take infield or something. Meanwhile,
I can't help it. I can't help it. If I hear a
basketball, same. I hear the thing and I go over. I look around like, hey, you mind if I shoot her out? I love soccer now too, but I
have an appreciation for soccer, but Baseball's my game
Baseball's
through and
baseball.
through.
Man. Baseball's baseball.
Through and through.
Okay, you know
I
what?
feel like
I
it's got
really
the
gotta
best stories. So, well, thank you, Robert, for
Yeah,
for
pleasure.
Robert Mailer.
Let,
Rest in peace, Mr. Mays.
let me see
And
my last. Here's my
we'll see
last.
you
Since we're
after the
talking
next
about,
page.
here's my quad candlestick. They used to give these out if you went to an extra inning.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.